Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Pages to Pixels podcast. I'm Kirtana, this is Rohan, and this week we are going to talk about Sitaare Zameen Par. What did you think?
So before I get into this movie, this movie is actually a remake. There was the original movie, I believe, called Championes. That was a Spanish movie, and then I believe Hollywood did a remake of that movie with Woody Harrelson, called Champions, and now we finally have our Bollywood version. I have not seen either of the original movies, and I know Bollywood does tend to remake a lot of movies. I am glad though that this time you know, they tend to remake a lot, but they also tend to rip off a lot. Difference is when they remake a movie, they are actually getting the rights to remake it. When they rip it off, they kind of just do it without without the rights or anything like that. Yeah, this is one of the instances where they actually obtained the rights and did a remake. A similar thing when Amir Khan did Lal Singh Chaddha. That was a proper remake, not a ripoff. Once again, actually getting the rights. So good job, Amir Khan. Because I know that he also acts as producers and he likes to do things the legit way.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, overall, I thought this movie was pretty good. I don't think I necessarily loved it, but it was an enjoyable watch.
Yeah, I was actually going to use the exact same word. I was going to say it was an enjoyable watch. It was quite light. There were not, there wasn't any, that it didn't feel life or death at any point. It was pretty dramatic, but I could see that it was intentional. Um, and no, I quite enjoyed the whole
Mhm.
like ride of it. It was nice to get to know these characters and to kind of understand, the world from their point of view.
Yeah, and I think we should probably jump into what this movie is about. Um, but basically, it is about Amir Khan's character. He's a basketball coach, and one of the things about him is that he is short, and people always make fun of him for that. And
Yeah.
um, he's very triggered whenever somebody mentions his height, and he gets super pissed off. And then on top of that, I think his dad left him as a child, so that's kind of like unresolved trauma. And as a result, he's just kind of mean to like everyone,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah,
and nobody really
it's
likes him. And
almost.
now he, yeah,
No, I
I
was
know.
gonna say
I was just going to get into what it's about. Now that he gets into a car accident. Yeah.
yes. He gets into a car accident, and
All right.
um, as punishment for that, he's asked to serve community service, and because he's a basketball coach, he's asked to coach a team which has a bunch of players who have special needs.
Yeah. Um, and like he goes through this whole transformation from it through the course of the story. Um, it's a bit of a trope. Um, I think we can kind of address that right now because this reminds me a little bit of the of like a white savior trope. Obviously, it's different. In this case, it's a basketball coach helping a group of special needs kids, but then of course they end up helping him as he says in his monologue at the end of at the end of the movie, because that is a thing in Indian cinema where they're like, hey, in case you don't get the theme, they're gonna have the main character say the whole have a monologue and deliver what the themes are.
I thought I agree when you said that it definitely plays into the trope. I also felt like the beats were extremely predictable. It's There was really no surprises in the entire screenplay. I will say
Yeah,
that what I was pleasantly surprised by was the humor.
I will
A
say
lot of it
though.
is very.
Go ahead. Yeah, I mean it's pretty funny. And like going back to the trope, I will say that um, I think it's fair to criticize this movie and mention, hey, you have the trope
Yeah.
um, of a character um, where this is a movie about people with special needs, and your main character is not someone like that. Um, so you're telling a story about special needs through the eyes of a character who doesn't have special needs. Um, and you result. And I don't know what to call this trope. Obviously, I said white savior. This is not
Yeah.
exactly a white savior story. Um,
Yeah, but it is. But it
but
basically
just to
is.
illustrate, yeah, just to illustrate kind of what that is. Um, I I guess I do want to know your thoughts on it because I am personally split on
Mhm.
the type, like, is this okay, quote unquote? Because I kind of understand both sides. Where, uh, yes, I do think that could the movie have been more powerful to tell it from the perspective of someone who is actually special needs? Yes, but then also I wonder that, hey, if you have Amir Khan as your lead, and you're telling it kind of, in this manner where it is a very paint by numbers Bollywood movie, maybe,
More people
maybe
will
you're going to
watch it.
attract more of an audience. Or, yeah,
Yeah.
more people are going to be a little bit open minded who aren't dialed in.
Yeah, I see again both sides of the argument. Very early on, when we were in film school, one of our teachers had said that there's no real answer to this problem. There is this problem of like, I think very tempted to want to talk about what a movie could have been versus what it is, right? Like, now, could it have been more powerful with a different protagonist? Probably. But unfortunately, that's not what it is. So I think it's like, while I see the argument on both ends, I think like we could we could build multiple tangents on like what it could have been, how we could have rewritten it and stuff like that. For
Right.
what it is, I thought the intent was in the right place. Um, I
I
think
agree.
the effort was pretty clear from the filmmakers that they wanted to say something, and I think they succeeded at saying it. Um, Speaking of Amir Khan himself, however, I was absolutely not a fan of the performance.
Yeah, it didn't work for me.
Yeah, I mean, it felt
He,
like. Go on.
yeah, it felt like he was just trying too hard.
Yeah, and I think he wanted to like I think he really wanted like physical humor here. Like he was definitely
Yeah.
going for it. I mean, I know he tried it in Lal Singh Chadda and that failed miserably, but like, he's usually like a pretty charming person. Like he's pretty good at comedy. Like Three
Hmm.
Idiots was excellent. It was, but that entire like organic energy that he usually brings was completely absent. There was also a lot of continuity errors. Like there was like in some scenes he would have his hair dyed and his beard dyed and everything. In other scenes he wouldn't have it. It was a little rough to like. It was definitely not consistent throughout, and that stuck out to me. Um, and like you said, the
Yeah.
performance was not just animated, but I don't know. I get almost caricaturized. I thought.
Yeah, it's the way I would describe it is like, when a character, or an actor wants to express that they are confused, um, they can show it kind of on their face, or the easy method is like, oh, scratch your head.
Yeah.
And I felt like Ahmed Khan was doing the, oh, scratch your head, where, um, like, it's a different way of like show don't tell, or it feels like he's, by scratching his head, he's telling
Yeah.
everyone that
Yeah.
he's confused, but he's not really acting. He's
Yeah.
kind of just going through the motions.
Yeah. I fully agree with
um,
what you said. Um, but I
mhm.
did love the incessant short jokes and him incessantly getting triggered. I think they served as a good way to kind of break tension in several scenes. Um, it's very cool. So I think
Yeah.
we don't, like a man of his stature, we often don't see them being okay with making fun of themselves. So it was very cool to see him, um, you know, be able to take himself not so seriously in this movie.
Yeah, I mean, I really do, like him, even though I was disappointed in this performance. Um, Again, I believe he did act as a producer in this movie, and the
Yeah.
fact that he, especially, I know this happens in all the industries, but I know Bollywood notoriously is where actors and actresses are obsessed with their appearance and their image. So it is nice to see, um, not just like, this isn't just, and don't get me wrong, Rajkumar Rao is a very successful actor, but this is not a Rajkumar Rao uh,
Yeah.
doing these type of jokes. This is Amir Khan, a legend, a titan, um, being able to make fun of himself.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it was very very cool to see that. I will say that the rest of the characters, all of whom are on the spectrum. I think it was Down syndrome and autism.
Yeah,
All of them did an exceptional job, and I'm so happy they got people with who are actually on the spectrum to do this. Um,
I agree.
because there's the horrifying version of this where they don't get real
Yeah,
representation.
and I think that's where we were talking about the trope. I think that's where it does kind of become okay because it's like, yes, you are telling the story of someone who is not from that community, or you're telling a story about a community or about a group of people who is not a part of that group, but at least the others involved are. um, there could have, like you said, there could have definitely been a version where um, there are, uh, like there are other actors, and none of them actually have um, Down syndrome or are on the spectrum, and it's just it's just Ranbir Kapoor pretending to be one of those kids. Uh,
Oh God.
that would have been way
Yeah.
worse.
Yes. I agree. I thought it obviously brought authenticity, and I mean, this is the way it's supposed to be done. But I think it helped keep the voice authentic
Yeah.
through the entire film. And it
Hmm.
was really cool that I think all of them got in their fair share of jokes, um, make, making fun of Amir, which is pretty cool to see.
Yeah.
Um, I did
I love
like I
the
said,
prostitute joke.
sorry, what joke?
I love the prostitute joke.
Yeah, it was solid. But hey, I mean, he has a girlfriend, and I mean, how many
Yeah.
people can say that? No, I thought it
Hmm.
was hilarious. I thought the humor really worked for me. The one thing that, like I said earlier on, the one thing that didn't work was how predictable it was. Because we have this one character who
Yeah.
doesn't shoot forward when he plays basketball. He shoots,
Hmm.
he throws the ball behind his back and somehow scores sometimes. The minute this character was introduced and the minute we find out that that was his quirk, I was like, oh, at a pivotal moment later, he's going to come back, and
Yeah.
then we're all going to, think he's going on the wrong side, but he's going to get this in. So that was just one example, but there were multiple instances throughout the screenplay where I was able to tell not just what the next beat was, but also what several beats later we were going to see on screen. Um, I think that was really my only gripe. That and Amir Khan's performance. I thought generally I was really good.
Yeah, I thought she was really good too. Um, I do think that, like, overall,
Yeah.
the movie, I think where it started to fall apart for me was it was kind of what you said, some of the writing, some of the filmmaking. I thought there was too many subplots,
Yeah.
like, and too many, like, I feel like Ahmed Khan character, he had like one too many quirks. Like, we could have done without the elevator thing, in my
True.
opinion.
Yeah.
Um, uh, his mother, who by the way is only like 7 years older than him,
Oh
at
my
least the
God.
actress.
This is like that Game of
It's still
Thrones
not as bad
episode.
as Samuel Jackson.
Not Game of Thrones. This
Yeah,
is like
it's
that
still not as
Hollywood
bad as
drama.
Samuel Jackson.
Huh?
Yeah, no, but in Glass, Samuel Jackson, uh, his mom, the actress, is actually younger than Samuel Jackson is.
I mean,
Yeah,
but no, yes, the subplot of her having the boyfriend. I mean, some great laughs, but really, I don't know what it achieved.
yeah. Even the subplot of one of the kids, Hargobind not trusting
Yeah.
uh, the coaching, even that I felt like could have been cut.
Eliminated. Yeah.
Um, yeah, and especially this movie is long, and I
Yeah.
personally I could feel it.
Yeah. Me too. I think by the time we hit like midpoint, I was already fatigued. Um,
Yeah,
and I mean, at least I got to watch it. I mean, I watched this at home and I watched it on YouTube, and I had the liberty of like pausing and coming back to it if I wanted to, which I
yeah.
think leads us quite nicely into the fact that he didn't put it on a single OTT platform. He decided to release it on YouTube for rent. Um,
Hmm.
I was like, I think it's a good idea. I'm very on board with that idea because I think right now, the way things are structured, especially in India, the OTTs almost call all the shots. They
Hmm.
dictate what gets to be made, they dictate how much it's sold for. So I think this was a
Right.
nice little, fuck you to them.
Yeah,
So
I guess so. At the same time, though, I will say, um, ultimately, I do think uh, that is gonna limit the viewership.
yeah, I mean, it's a risk that he decided to take. I'm just glad that he was able to. It was also the YouTube release was actually accompanied by this really, really cringy marketing campaign, starring Amar and his son Junaid. Um, I don't know if you've come across any of them, but basically they recreate like iconic
I have
scenes from
not.
some old films. It was so cringy. Like if you feel bad about, I don't know, life decisions, you can go watch it and you can see that Amir Khan did this with a straight face, so you'll be okay, you know.
Hmm.
They were
Yeah.
extremely. You should check them out.
Mhm. Yeah, I will say I still, and I'm not as well versed as how streaming works in India, but I do think it is a mistake to not do streaming. Um, Here is the thing, though. I will say, um, I think the approach that should be done is a little bit of the approach that used to be done pre-COVID, where typically it's 90 days in theaters, and like that is it, and then you get like a month where it is only available on demand or for rent, and then you can go to an actual
Yeah,
streaming service.
yeah.
So I think that might have been a better option, and I
Yeah.
think ultimately that would end up being profitable for the production company as well, and then it also leads to people seeing it.
No, I see what you mean. I would like to know. I wonder if they would release the numbers on this. I would like to know what those were like before, I guess, saying something about this, because on the off chance that his numbers are really great, um, I don't know. Like I said, I would like that information before I guess making a comment on this.
Mhm.
But I mean, I am glad that there is some decentralization of power at the end of the day. Um, I think that is always a good
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, I guess it's still you watch it on YouTube that's owned by Google, so
This is such a rabbit hole because very recently I was trying to talk to my sister about like, what companies we can actually buy from and who we can actually support if we want to be ethical. And it kind of sucks because like it doesn't matter what you do, you somehow end up in like a big, like $1 billion company's pocket, just somehow or the other.
yeah,
It literally doesn't matter what you do. But we digress. I did think that the music was a
yeah.
little
I
overplayed.
mean, I do see your yeah,
Sorry.
yeah. Um, no, I agree with the music thing. I didn't think none of the music really stood out to me.
It did. I mean,
Um,
very often you'll see
Again, it
these
just
filmmakers.
felt
Sorry. I was gonna say, very often you'll see filmmakers use music cues throughout their story if they feel like they haven't written a strong enough moment for the audience to jump on board and understand what they're supposed to feel. Um, Although every point that the filmmakers were trying to make in this film were it was all very clear, but despite it, I feel like they felt the need to use the music to kind of cue emotions. You're supposed to feel happy, now here's happy music. You're supposed to feel sad, now here's sad music. Um, but just watching all of that and kind of, I guess, judging by the quality of the writing, maybe this was intended to be a kid's film completely. Like, I wonder if like a child watched this, it would be more enjoyable to them because I see a lot of those jokes appeal to children better. Um, Maybe Amir Khan's performance as well would appeal
the
to children
prostitute
better.
joke, especially. I think kids will love that.
No, but you get my point. It's the way they kind of put it out there, like his acting, his
Yeah.
animation. I think all of it definitely like read more like a children's movie. Now, some of the themes were very adult, like I
Hmm.
mean, him wanting, like him having like, I guess, issues with his father. All of that stuff was pretty, I think, intense. But like I said, overall, I think if you really zoom out and watch it, it could be a pretty successful kids movie. you know, as long as you don't have a problem with the prostitute
Hmm.
joke, I guess.
Yeah. But I feel like I'm gonna push back because I feel like it's less for me. It was less about it being intended to be a kids movie and more about just the style of filmmaking. Um, I don't think it did remind me very much of like 2000s Bollywood. Very like very mainstream 2000s Bollywood, like a lot of the Akshay Kumar movies, a lot of the Salman Khan movies, and hell, even Amir Khan to a certain extent. I think he's always been a level above. At least his movies have been.
Yeah.
But like in terms of the like Three Idiots was super over the top as
Yeah.
well. But there it just I feel like at the end of the day, it just Three Idiots just knew how to balance that over the topness. Whilst that doesn't mean for just kind of, it struggles to do so. Um, and
Yeah.
even the way the basketball scenes were filmed, it just, it felt like if I could do that, I could just take my phone to a gym and I could recreate those scenes in a
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. It, it felt like a surface level film, I think, in all aspects. Um,
Yep.
it was, I mean, I still think it's a good film and it's definitely worth a watch. It brought out some very real emotions for me. But
Hmm.
outside of it, I think, but I do think that a lot of those emotions come from maybe circumstance more than story here. Um, you give characters that you are inherently going to empathize with emotional stories and
Right.
challenging conflicts. You are going to root for them to come out the other side. So, is that like a testament to the craft of the film? I don't know. Is it a testament to these characters? It is, and I think that's why the film worked for me.
Hmm. Well, keep in mind they did have a backbone, or not a backbone, a blueprint to go off of with both
Right.
Championes and Champions.
Yeah.
And I haven't seen those movies, but I have seen like side by side shots, and it's like the exact same shot.
Well, excuse me. Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm glad they still did justice to what they started out to do. Um,
All right, so it's time for our scores. And if you're new, or just as a reminder, the way we score things here on Pages Pixels is on the script cover scale. There is pass when we think the movie is not so good, consider when we think it's decent, and recommend when we think it's great. As a reminder, this is not a recommendation, it's just a score. With that said, how would you score Sitaare Zameen Par?
I would give it a recommend. It is a long movie, but I think it was enjoyable enough for me to, score it well. How about you?
I would give it a consider. I think that I like. I think its heart is in the right place, and I think it works just well enough. But ultimately, there is a lot of issues that I have with it, but I still enjoyed it.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Um, Good to know you liked it.
All right, so clearly you really like this movie. So what else would you recommend, or what else have you been watching?
So I would recommend. This is very generic, but I think everybody should watch the first Tare Zameen Par film. Um, I loved it, and I thought it was
Yeah.
a wonderful representation of dyslexia and what it feels like to have it. In fact, when I was in college, there were multiple girls in my class who we were discussing Tare Zameen Par for like a class in college, and there were multiple people who said, "Hey, I grew up with dyslexia and I didn't know how to articulate what was happening until I saw this movie." And like I pointed at that and I told my parents, "This is how I feel," and then they diagnosed me. So I think that film was extremely powerful and had a lot of impact. So everybody should check it out. As for what else I've been watching, I watched this Rajnikant film called Kohli, and it sucked. It sucked so much. Um, I'm
Yeah, I
such a
didn't hear
big
good
fan.
things about it.
Yeah, so I am a die-hard fan, right? I grew up like around his films, like I'm from Chennai, and I was incredibly excited to check this film out, especially because I was going to be in Chennai to watch it. That hasn't happened in the last 4 years. So I went in, I heard I heard people say it wasn't great, but I was still like, oh, nobody knows what they're talking about. It's gonna be great. Like people, their standards are too high, whatever. And man, it was just 2 hours of just nothing. And I don't know, just I think there was one song sequence I enjoyed, but outside of that, Cooley was a big disappointment. Very unfortunate.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I've been watching. How about you?
So I'm actually gonna first, from a recommendation, I'm gonna echo that as Zameen put it. I think it is, um, yeah, obviously this movie is gonna get comparisons because of the name and because Amir Khan himself has said it's a spiritual sequel. Um, yeah, that is Zameen Par is way better in my opinion.
Yeah,
And like, don't get me wrong, I enjoy this movie, but that doesn't mean that it is genuinely a classic that I think people love and go back to. I don't think this movie is going to be like that. In terms of what else I've been watching, I actually just watched The People's Joker, which is kind of a parody of the Joker or Batman, like specifically the Joaquin Phoenix Joker. But in this version, Joker is a trans woman who wants to become a comedian, but comedy is illegal because Batman made it illegal. And she's kind of telling, yeah, it's the director, she's kind of telling her own personal story uh, through the world of Batman. And I thought it was just really creative. And I would recommend it. It's definitely not for everyone, but it was for me.
yeah. If it was for you, I would probably hate it, but it does sound super interesting. Um, I mean,
Hmm.
I think that's a pretty new concept of using a different word just to echo your experience. So it sounds interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe I'll check it out and we will debate about it. We'll see. All right, with that, we come to the end of this week's episode of the Pages to Pixels podcast. I am Kirtana,
I'm Rohan.
and we will see you again next week with a brand new episode. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you.